Hey, so welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to try a different type of video again, just experimenting, just more practice, more, you know, just getting better at this. So I'm gonna take a look at MKBHd, Marquez Brownlee, my favorite YouTuber's iPhone 12 review. Now I haven't seen this before, so essentially I have the iPhone 12 too. I've been testing it out myself, so I just want to see what his impressions of the phone were versus kind of what my impressions of the phone were. I'm just trying to get a little bit of maybe a different perspective. I think having that different perspective will help you decide whether or not you think the phone is right for you. So, without further ado, MKBHd, let's go. Give that full screen.
Yeah. On est en 2001. Ça te rappelle rien? Non? Alors laisse-moi te rafraîchir la mémoire.
Hey, what's up? MKBHd here, and this is the iPhone 12. And I feel like we've all seen an iPhone before at this point. This is a pretty familiar iPhone. We've seen the rounded corners and the notch and the lightning port, but there are a couple key changes this year that are a first in the iPhone. So I've been using this iPhone 12 for a bit since my impressions video, and it's my favorite iPhone ever, mostly because of this design.
The design, when you get it in your hands and you actually feel it, it feels great. So the impressions there, I see what he means, and I can see why he's saying it's his favorite iPhone. Probably since last year, because last year was a great iPhone too.
But if you're considering getting one, there's some stuff you should know. Now I'm gonna do a separate video on the Pro in this sweet blue color. I think it's the best color, but these two.
Yep, my brother has that color too. If you want to see a close up of that, let me know and I'll make a video.
Two phones are very similar, same exact size, like a case that works for one, works for the other, same main cameras, almost the same screen, same battery, same charging, but there's a couple things that only apply to the Pro, and I'll go over those in that video. But let's just start with the 12 with this new design, shall we? I love this super flat design. It is so flat. It's not the typical almost flat where the screen is flat right up to the edges and then
Now, I also really like the design. I have got some feedback from like people around me who don't like it. They think it looks too much like the 5S. They think it makes the phone look dated because it's more of like a throwback. But me personally, I like it. So I don't know. I don't know what to say to the people who didn't like it. I like design. I can kind of see what people mean though in terms of the throwback, but I think it's a good throwback. It's throwing back to a good phone.
and then it curves over the very edge and they call it like 2.5D. No, this is flat flat. Like the phone happens to be a little bit thinner and a little bit lighter than last year, but I'm not as concerned with that. But the square sides are actually the most efficient way to pack in those internals into the phone as efficiently as possible. And I happen to think it looks and feels super premium and modern on top of all that. Now,
that is a good point. It does feel premium for the most part. The 12 feels very light. And, for me personally, a heavier phone makes it look more premium, me personally. And he says he thinks it looks modern. Like I said, I've had some feedback personally that it looks dated. So, I think it's subjective, right?
This kind of red, but also kind of salmon sometimes product red version. After seeing it in person, I'd probably not go for this. I'd go for either the blue or the black. But yeah, those aluminum rails.
He hasn't seen the white. That's the one to go with.
Are everything. They're more grippable, maybe a little less comfortable at first, but hey, the buttons are clicky, the power button is a little bit bigger, it's still IP68 water resistant. You've got your 5G antenna cutout on the right-hand side in some regions, which trust me, I'll get way into that in a second. And yeah, I just like holding this phone. Now, if you put a case on it, I guess a lot of that doesn't matter as much. You'll notice it less, obviously, but still, even some cases are flattening out their dimensions for the iPhone 12. So that, again, will make it easier to grip, harder to drop. And speaking of dropping...
That's a good point. Actually, this is the 11 Pro Max, and this is an iPhone 12. And for sure, it's better grip. On the flatter sides do provide much better grip, for sure.
All these new iPhones come with, on the front, something new called ceramic shield. And this is basically this specialty hardened kind of glass with crystal structure inside it, and it's on the front of these phones over the screen, and it's supposed to offer 4 times better drop protection. So
I didn't realize that ceramic glass is on front of the screen. Okay, that explains something. All right, quick story time. On Sunday, the Sunday just gone past, my brother dropped his brand new iPhone 12 Pro, the blue one. He said he dropped it on the back, right? But what happened was there's actually a scratch. Well, there was a scratch here. I don't know if you guys can even see this, but there's a scratch on the edge. And also it looks like the phone had kind of popped forward, like almost like a screen protector that's kind of lifted off. Not that much. It wasn't that much, but just slightly. And I was wondering, how is that possible? It kind of looks like a screen protector. So that makes sense. If that basically means that his ceramic shield on his phone is kind of shifted a bit, and it was just a small fall as well. So it's a bit worrying in terms of durability. So we need to kind of keep an eye on that. He was able to kind of, I guess, push it back in. It's harder to see now, so that's good. But that is slightly annoying that a small drop on the back of the phone has caused damage to the front of the phone when it's supposed to be improved. So I don't know. We'll see.
Shatter protection, basically, which is great. But I typically care just as much, if not more, about scratch resistance, all the little micro scratches that your phone gathers over time. And the thing about scratch resistance is it's typically inversely proportional to shatter resistance. So if you think about it, the softer something is, the less likely it is to shatter, but then the easier it is to scratch it. And vice versa, the harder something is, the less likely you are to scratch it, but the more brittle it is and the more shatterable it becomes. So I see the headline of better drop protection, and that's great, but I'm not about to drop my phone to find out if it works. I'm sure people are already on that. I have no idea how they'll land on that 4x number, but all right. All I know is I already have a little gash in my screen on the left-hand side here, which is so sad, but that's probably at a level 6.
Damn. My brother had 2 little scratches. That's terrible. Damn. Hey, get your screen protectors on right now.
No idea how that happened, but I'm feeling like the iPhone is not significantly more scratch resistant than before. Of course, Zach will probably tell us the truth there. So if it shatters a lot less when dropped, we'll see. That would be nice. But I feel like a lot of the drop stuff is happenstance. Like if I happen to drop my phone a certain way, it's definitely gonna crack, right? And if I happen to drop my phone another way, it's probably not going to. So I don't know. I don't want to worry about too much. Use a case if you want to. Use a screen protector if you really want to. I'm just gonna live my life. So possibly the biggest external hardware feature of the new iPhones is MagSafe. And I think it has bigger implications for the future of the
Boo, MagSafe. I'm joking.
iPhone, but right now, MagSafe is the optional new magnetic charging accessory standard on the back, like right behind the Apple logo. So the number one.
Truth is, I'm not joking. Boo, MagSafe. This to me, it's so pointless, but we'll
one MagSafe accessory that Apple sells is the puck charger. It doesn't come with a brick, by the way. So if you buy the charger for $40, make sure you have a USB-C charging brick. But
it doesn't even come with a brick.
Yeah, just kind of slaps onto the back of the phone. You line it up with the magnets. You kind of get used to where it places right over the Apple logo, and that's all good. This charges at 15 watts, while every other wireless charger on the iPhone still charges at 7.5 watts. And a couple other FAQs on this. Number one, yes, it is still Qi charging, so you can still charge the iPhone 12 with other wireless chargers, and you can charge other phones with the MagSafe puck if you're into that. Number two,
no Android user buying a $40 iPhone charger, a wireless iPhone charger. They're just not.
The durability concern with MagSafe leaving marks on the iPhone, I have noticed that on mine too, but I don't think it'll turn out to be a long-term problem. It just seems to wipe off every time. Like you might remember how the HomePod was leaving these little white stain rings on certain wood tables, which is kind of understandable because not every table is the same. but I feel like, I hope Apple's probably tested this like 100,000 times and probably determined that it's not an issue about the way they made this. So should be okay. And then number 3, I was getting a lot of questions about this. Yes, you can MagSafe charge through most non-MagSafe cases as long as they're thin enough. And even that magnet will actually still work through some thin cases. So I didn't really have any non-MagSafe cases here to test, but of course, channel sponsor Dbrand sent over a grip case, and I can confirm it's thin enough to work just fine with a MagSafe charger, kind of like it is a MagSafe charger. And yes, all the other benefits of a case, grippiness, protection, they all still apply. So since I know most people end up looking for a good one, I'll leave a link to this case below. Now, at the beginning of this MagSafe bit, I said something. I said it was optional, which it is for now, but I feel like we can all sort of see where this is going, which is Apple is slowly moving towards eventually making a portless iPhone, which I think that's a whole separate video's worth of rant, but bottom line is their solution to wirelessly, conveniently charging a phone that doesn't have a port.
Yeah, it does look like Apple are going for wireless or no ports. I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea, and especially if MagSafe does become actually really good in the future. Maybe it's a good idea, and I'm sure we'll get cheaper than $40 for a charger. So. And hopefully some of them third parties will throw in a brick for us.
Is going to be MagSafe, this thing right here. So, it's not amazing, but I guess it's fine. The couple of accessories they've made for it so far, not bad. There's a regular case, of course, so you can continue to stack things through. There's a kind of weird looking clear version of the case for some reason. There's a wallet that I mentioned that doesn't have very strong magnets, but if you think about it, it's not so peculiar that the one accessory they chose to make outside of a case is a wallet. Like, let me know if there's any flaw in this series of logic, right? So Apple wants to get rid of the port on the iPhone and go totally wireless charging for everything at a certain point. Maybe next year, whatever, right? So they already see ahead of time this particular headline, which is people who use wallet cases can't wireless charge their iPhone. So they can't charge their iPhone at all. So Apple needs to invent a way for people who use wallet cases to continue to charge their phone. So they invent an accessory, which is a removable wallet bit, so you can charge the phone, and when you don't need to charge it, you can put the wallet back on. That seems to check out. Like I said, it's a whole thing, but today, optional. Battery life.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that was that crazy. I mean, it makes sense. There are other companies who are doing it right now. I think there's a company called Extra, and they already have their wallet case, magnetic wallet cases as well. So, yeah, it makes sense.
Battery life on these phones has actually been pretty good, but not noticeably better than last year at all. Matter of fact, it's actually a slightly larger, higher res display and actually a smaller physical battery. So it's pretty impressive that the phone still does okay. You can kill it in a day with 6 hours of screen on time or just a lot of heavy use, but this isn't new with this standard size iPhone. If you want a real battery champ, you can go for the bigger phone. The actual...
Yeah, he's right. The bigger phones, battery is undefeated. It's hard to kill the bigger phones. And I think the smaller phones are just normal, everyday use. Most people will be fine. If you're a power user, maybe you have to charge near the end of the day, but most people will be fine.
The actual best new piece of the iPhone 12, though, is definitely the new display. It goes from being that 720p LCD with bigger bezels that was really easy to make fun of to this much better and even slightly bigger 6.1 inch 1080p OLED. It's like night and day. It's basically on par with the Pro, which is actually pretty surprising to me. Just a slightly lower peak brightness. Now,
this is it. This is the problem with this phone. It's so close to the Pro. It's hard. It's hard. I mean, unless you're obsessed by cameras, it might be best just to keep the 12. Don't pay the extra for the Pro.
Now, it's 60 hertz again, and while that's kind of a missing feature at this point on an $800 phone in 2020, I was actually kind of expecting that. I was just thinking the Pros would get 120 hertz displays this year, but obviously none of them did, which is a bummer. But let's be honest, they probably saw that as a battery saving measure since this phone did also just get 5G. So let's talk about 5G. I kind of love and hate 5G right now. So this slogan, Apple and I guess the carriers too really keep pushing that 5G just got real. 5G just got real. Really? Just now? 5G just now got real?
Oh, man.
Last time I checked, like this year, I reviewed like 30 phones with 5G. So clearly 5G has already existed, but
He doesn't know Apple invented 5G. He just doesn't know.
there's a reason they're saying it this way. So first of all, I did a video all about 5G where I went to a 5G area, testing it, explaining it, showing what's good about it and what its limitations are. I'm gonna leave it linked right below the like button if you wanna watch it, catch up on that. But the bottom line is it's really promising, but it's still being built right now. But carriers, and I guess Apple, really like the message that 5G just got real, because now that all of the new iPhones have 5G built in, there's about to be millions and millions and millions more people walking around with 5G capable phones in a few very short months. And when that happens, that tends to accelerate development. That sort of makes it real, which I get it. But also, the carriers would very, very much like you to upgrade to their 5G plan, please. But we gotta remember, 5G in 2020 has...
Side note, I actually saved the money upgrading to a 5G plan in the UK. Just saying.
its ups and its downs. Like this iPhone 12 I'm using here has Verizon 5G, which is surprisingly actually in my area. It's not millimeter wave, it's not ultra wideband, but it can still give me roughly 20% faster download and upload speeds. But 5G radios are also pretty power hungry, and the more time you spend on 5G, the more battery you bleed through. Now, Apple's thought a lot about this, of course, so their solution, and you might have caught it on stage during the announcement, is called Smart Data Mode. And basically, it tries to only use 5G when you actually need it to save battery. So when you're in a 4G area, you're on 4G speeds, everything works.
The question is though, when do you actually need 5G? Like, what would somebody be doing that they'd have to go from 4G to 5G, or the other way around, go down from 5G? I mean, what are people doing? Watching films, maybe downloading something, a little bit of streaming. What's going to be the thing that switches from 4 to 5? It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what that is.
Works with LTE, no problem. You're good. It'll feel normal. When you're in a 5G area and you're doing a lot of bandwidth intensive stuff, you're downloading a bunch of videos and music, you're FaceTiming in crispy HD, you're doing a lot of that high bandwidth stuff, that's going to use 5G, and that's going to improve that experience a lot. But if you are in a 5G area but not really doing anything that benefits from 5G,
so you did basically answer what I was saying. So like crispy FaceTime, crispy crystal clear FaceTime, which I don't think 4G could handle that. But
5G, then your phone will actually switch off and stick with 4G. And as The Verge reported, it'll actually still show you the 5G indicator in the corner, but you'll get 4G speeds, which will probably fine.
what happens to transparency, Apple? What happens to transparency?
But that also explains this sort of weird speed test result. So look, my take is, I get it. The best technologies are supposed to be invisible. Like you shouldn't even notice they work. You go to download something while walking around, you're in a 5G area, boom, 5G turns on, your downloads go super quick, and then it turns off to save battery. It's kind of like ProMotion on the iPad Pro. It goes up to 120 hertz when you're scrolling and playing games and actually using it. But when you're not, you're just sitting on the home screen or watching a video, it will go down to 24 hertz to save battery. So it's sort of not there when you don't need it. It's there when it helps you. It's just weird that the whole messaging has been in your face 5G, 5G, 5G. 5G, 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 5G. So yeah, I would say don't buy this phone now because you want to get a 5G phone.
That's the best advice, really. Yeah. 5G is, yeah, he's explained it. It's not everywhere. You want to buy a phone because it's 5G. You might just wait, and every phone you buy in the future will be 5G anyway. So,
but if you do get this phone now, then maybe it'll be a nice bonus if you're in a 5G area, or in the future when you end up in a 5G area, you'll be able to use that too. Cool.
Kick, snare,
All right, new iPhone equals new best camera ever in an iPhone, right? Well, sure. iPhone 12's got a slightly updated dual camera system with a standard and an ultra wide. The standard has a slightly wider aperture at f1.6 instead of f1.8. And to be honest, it's not really much of a difference in the camera. Like, it's just not. Same as the Pixel. They're not really doing anything too drastic. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Really, the hardware improvements are almost impossible to notice in regular photos, but they will get you an improvement in like the edge cases, the most difficult photo and video taking scenarios. So like handheld in low light, that'll be better. Night mode will be better. Autofocus on fast moving subjects. Super high dynamic range shots, like shooting straight into the sun thanks to Smart HDR3, stuff like that. Other than that, it still looks like iPhone photos, which is to say some of the absolute best and most consistent crisp photos.
I agree, because I actually did my camera test yesterday with all of the iPhones, the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 12 Pro, and also some footage of the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and the night mode on these is amazing. But you know, normal photo taking, it's not. No, it's still amazing photos, but if you're comparing it to 11 Pro, even 10, the 10s, it's not like it's a huge leap. But he's right, yeah. I think the way he explained it is really good actually, because in like night mode and like fast moving things, and even like video doing like stabilization, just things that are like awkward to shoot, it's much better at doing it.
For those of you lazy people that I know just went down to the chapters and skipped to this, it's a great phone. The best new parts of it are definitely the display, which was a huge knock up from last year. Knock up? Why did I say it like that? The display is better, battery life's about the same, cameras are a little bit better, build quality and design are also an awesome improvement, and MagSafe, it's optional for now, but might as well start getting used to it. And the worst part is the price is a little higher because also 5G is built into the phone, even for people who are never going to use it. But that being said, there you have it. Great work, Apple. And definitely stay tuned for the review on the Pro. I want to dive into what makes it a Pro. You know, as a YouTuber, I think a lot about this. As a content creator, am I a pro iPhone user? I don't know. There's lots to talk about there, but that's been the iPhone 12. Thanks for watching. Much coming up very soon because, you know, Techtober, guys. Techtober. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Wow, great review. He's right in terms of the 12. Really, the big thing is build quality and the screen improvement over the 11. I don't think the camera improvement from the 11 to the 12 is that much like worth it for most people. And that's really what the conclusion I'm getting is. If you want to save money, buy the 11, in my opinion, because unless you like this design, especially like you just like this flat design, questionable build quality, right? So it feels good, but at the same time, we don't know really what a build quality is. Like I said, my brother dropped his phone very briefly, and now he has a scratch, and it looked a little bit like the screen was popping out. So build quality will tell over time. I'm sure people are dropping their iPhones right now, so we'll see. But yeah, for the most part, I agree with what you're saying. I learned some stuff watching it. Great review. Yeah, I just thought I'd give you guys a different opinion and maybe a different perspective. Maybe it'll help you buy with your buying decisions, because obviously he reviews phones all the time, so maybe our perspectives are a bit different. But anyway, thank you for watching. The road to 1,000 subscribers is still going. If you want to be part of it, hit the subscribe button below, and I'll catch you in the next one.